November 22, 1963, as the presidential motorcade rolled through the cheering crowds in Dallas, Texas governor's wife Nellie Connolly turned to President John F. Kennedy and said, "Mr. President, you can't say Dallas doesn't love you." With a smile, Kennedy replied, "No, you certainly can't." Those were his last words. Moments later, shots rang out, and at age 46, the 35th President of the United States was gone. Yet his brief presidency, marked by charisma, crisis, and a call to service, left an indelible mark on America and the world. Today, we explore the life, leadership, and enduring legacy of John F. Kennedy. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was born on May 29, 1917, in Brookline, Massachusetts, into a wealthy and ambitious Irish Catholic family. He was the second of 9 children of Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., a successful businessman and former ambassador to the United Kingdom, and Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, daughter of Boston's former mayor. The Kennedys were known for their competitive spirit, instilled by Joseph, who pushed his children toward excellence in academics, athletics, and public life. Young Jack, as he was called, suffered from chronic health issues, including scarlet fever and undiagnosed Addison's disease, which caused him lifelong pain and required ongoing treatment. Kennedy attended elite schools, including Choate Rosemary Hall and then Harvard University, graduating in 1940 with a degree in international affairs. His senior thesis, examining Britain's unpreparedness for World War II, was published as the book Why England Slept and became a bestseller. As war loomed, Kennedy tried to enlist but was initially rejected due to his back problems. With his father's influence, he joined the U.S. Navy in 1941. In World War II, Kennedy commanded PT-109, a patrol torpedo boat in the Pacific. On August 2, 1943, a Japanese destroyer rammed and sank the vessel. Despite a severe back injury, Kennedy heroically towed an injured crewman to safety by swimming for hours while gripping the man's life jacket strap in his teeth. He led the survivors to a nearby island, carving a rescue message on a coconut shell that eventually brought help. For his bravery, he received the Navy and Marine Corps Medal and Purple Heart. Tragically, his older brother Joseph Jr., the family's original political hope, died in a plane explosion in 1944. The mantle passed to Jack. After the war, Kennedy worked briefly as a journalist before entering politics. In 1946, at age 29, he won election to the U.S. House of Representatives from Massachusetts, 11th District, serving 3 terms as a Democrat. He focused on labor issues, housing, and foreign policy. In 1952, he upset incumbent Henry Cabot Lodge Jr. to win a U.S. Senate seat. While recovering from back surgery in 1954 to 1955, Kennedy wrote Profiles in Courage, a book about senators who defied public opinion for principle. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Biography in 1957. In 1953, Kennedy married Jacqueline Bouvier, a sophisticated photographer and writer. Their wedding was a high society event. They had 4 children: Arabella, stillborn in 1956; Caroline, born 1957; John Jr., 1960; and Patrick, 1963, who lived only 2 days. The family projected glamour and vitality, earning the nickname Camelot later on. Kennedy's national profile rose in 1956, when he nearly won the Democratic vice presidential nomination. By 1960, he sought the presidency. Despite concerns about his youth, he would be 43. Catholicism, no Catholic had been elected president, and health. Kennedy won a close primary battle and the nomination. He chose Texas Senator Lyndon B. Johnson as his running mate for Southern support. The general election against Vice President Richard Nixon was one of the closest ever. Televised debates played a key role. Kennedy appeared tanned and confident, while Nixon looked unwell. Kennedy won the popular vote by just 0.17%, and the Electoral College 303 to 219. On January 20, 1961, Kennedy was inaugurated on a frigid day in Washington, D.C. His address, delivered without a coat, became legendary. He called for a new generation to take responsibility. Let the word go forth, that the torch has been passed to a new generation of Americans. He pledged to defend liberty worldwide. We shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe. Most famously, he urged citizens, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. The speech inspired idealism and set a tone of vigor and sacrifice. Kennedy's domestic agenda, dubbed the New Frontier, aimed at economic growth, education, and social progress. He proposed tax cuts to stimulate the economy, increased the minimum wage, and created the Area Redevelopment Administration to aid depressed regions. He established the Peace Corps in 1961, sending volunteers abroad to help developing nations, a program that embodied his call to service and still thrives today. Kennedy pushed for medical care for the elderly, a precursor to Medicare, and federal aid to education, though many initiatives faced congressional resistance. On civil rights, Kennedy was cautious initially, fearing alienating Southern Democrats, but events forced action. In 1961, he federalized the Alabama National Guard to protect freedom riders. In 1962, he sent troops to enforce James Meredith's enrollment at the University of Mississippi. After Birmingham protests in 1963, showed police brutality against peaceful demonstrators, including children, Kennedy addressed the nation, calling civil rights a moral issue. He proposed legislation banning segregation in public, accommodations and employment, discrimination, the basis for the Civil Rights Act of 1964, passed after his death. The gravest crisis came in October 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. U.S. reconnaissance discovered Soviet nuclear missiles in Cuba. Kennedy imposed a naval quarantine and demanded removal. For 13 tense days, the world teetered on nuclear war. Secretly, Kennedy agreed to remove U.S. missiles from Turkey. The Soviets backed down, a major diplomatic victory that led to a hotline between Washington and Moscow and the 1963 Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, banning atmospheric tests. Kennedy advanced space exploration, committing in 1961 to land a man on the moon by decades, and a goal achieved in 1969. He supported the Alliance for Progress to aid Latin America and spoke against communism spread. On November 22, 1963, Kennedy visited Texas for political reconciliation. In Dallas, as the open-top limousine passed through Dealey Plaza, shots fired from the Texas School Book Depository struck him. Governor Connolly was wounded. Kennedy was hit fatally in the head. Rushed to Parkland Hospital. He was pronounced dead at 1 p.m. Vice President Johnson was sworn in aboard Air Force One as it returned to Washington with Kennedy's body and widow Jacqueline. Lee Harvey Oswald, a former Marine with pro-Castro sympathies, was arrested for the shooting. 2 days later, nightclub owner Jack Ruby killed Oswald on live television. The Warren Commission concluded in 1964 that Oswald acted alone. But conspiracy theories, implicating the CIA, Mafia, or others, persist due to inconsistencies and Oswald's murder. Kennedy's funeral drew millions. His grave at Arlington National Cemetery features an eternal flame lit by Jacqueline. The nation mourned deeply. His approval ratings had been high, and his youth amplified the tragedy. Kennedy's legacy is complex. Achievements include averting nuclear war, inspiring public service through the Peace Corps, advancing civil rights groundwork, and igniting the space race. The Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act, and moon landing followed in his wake, often attributed to his momentum. Critics note early foreign missteps like Bay of Pigs, escalation in Vietnam. He increased advisors from 900 to 16,000. And slow civil rights progress. His personal life, including health concealment and alleged affairs, has been scrutinized. Yet Kennedy symbolized hope and modernity. The Camelot myth, glamorous, intellectual, forward-looking, endures. He reminded Americans of civic duty and global responsibility. As he said in his inaugural, the work of freedom is ongoing. Though cut short, his vision of a stronger, fairer nation and peaceful world continues to guide us. John F. Kennedy's life teaches that leadership demands courage in crisis. idealism in vision, and humility in service. His tragic end shocked the world, but his words and actions remind us, in pursuing greatness, we honor not just a man, but the enduring promise of America.